folks, Gary here with Paramount. So I got you to the starting line, and then I pulled you away for just a minute. Hopefully you clicked on this video because you were curious what going to a track day was like. And I wanted to make this video because I had such a great time. I thought it was so important. And I'd wish somebody had made a video like this for me that I'd come across. Because the biggest takeaway here is I wish I would have done it sooner. If you're riding a motorcycle, I don't care if it's a sport bike, a cruiser, a Can-Am, anything that's not a car, and honestly, even a car, if you're driving a car, you should do a track day too, by the way. I've done multiple driving courses. We actually offer high performance driving courses through our company, but I'd never done track day on a bike, and I had been wanting to for a long time, but lots of things were holding me back. So I want to cover those, and I don't want you to make the same mistake that I did, because folks, I promise you, I wish I had done this a lot sooner. Ultimately, I was letting the unknown hold me back. There was a lot of misconceptions that I had. So what I want to do with this video is dispel some of the misconceptions. I want you to know exactly what you're getting into, what gear you actually need, and kind of what to expect, or at least share from my experience. Your experience may vary slightly. I don't think it'll be that big of a difference. And at the end of this, what I'm gonna do is share my biggest takeaways. The things that I learned, the things I think are important, the things that I think you'll learn. And that's, attending a track day, whether you're just driving a car, a motorcycle, and any kind of motorcycle. I don't care if you got a cruiser, I don't care if you got a Grom, I don't care what you got, Can-Am. Folks, I think it's really important, and you'll be a safer rider for it, and you'll have enjoyed it too. It'll be a great experience. But before we do all that, there is a few people and organizations I want to give special thanks for putting on this event. It was at Summit Point, West Virginia. It was actually on September 11th, 2023 at Summit Point Motorsports. And all these organizations, I'm going to put some links to them down in the description below. I'm not affiliated with them. Or I'm not getting any sort of money. I think they're great organizations, and they're doing great things for the community. So I gladly recommend them and hope that you support them with your business, because they're doing good things with the resources that they have. This event was actually sponsored by several different organizations and mostly staffed by volunteers. While this wasn't really a training event, all of the volunteer staff, all the riding coaches, all them folks, they actually had a Q&A session during lunch that was extremely helpful. They were extremely generous with their time and their knowledge. And I just want to thank them personally. They just did a great job, and we're just great folks to work with. First organization I want to thank, Summit Point Motorsports. I guess I am kind of affiliated with them more so their other division, Summit Point Training Facility. We do all of our firearms and tactics and driving training right there. So we have ranges right there in the facility. I think that, guns and fast cars and motorcycles just kind of go together. But it is really cool. We have our pro shop there. And we do all the training there, and it is cool to have a training facility right there on the track. It's a lot of fun. Into track days, they offer track days along with different training and other resources. They also have a 2-day advanced training program, their ATP riding program, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, because that's something I definitely am planning on to attend. Yamaha was there. I'm not even a Yamaha guy, but folks, they were great. They had a bunch of bikes there that you could test ride. They made me want to be a Yamaha guy. Dan over at Montgomeryville Cycle Center in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. Montgomeryville Cycle Center sponsored that event as well. Dan is one of I guess he's a pro rider. We didn't really get into that, but he's actually a friend. You know what, I'm gonna call him, he's my friend now. He's a friend of my friend, but they're also a Ducati dealer. But I just kept hitting Dan with all kinds of different questions about Ducatis and everything else. And again, he was very kind, generous, and I probably wore him out. My buddy John, I want to thank him for convincing me to go to this. Yeah, thanks, John. I appreciate it. I should have gone sooner. The other person I want to thank and recommend is Greg over at the YouTube channel MotoJitsu. I actually have a short clip from one of his videos in this video. Man, that guy gives some really great advice and provides some great training resources when it comes to all things motorcycles. And he's a great instructor. One of the things I talk about that's really important with our business is that we have instructors that have operational experience and formal professional training experience as well. And Greg over at MotoJitsu really does exemplify that. Number one, he was a former drill instructor for the Marine Corps. He's a certified instructor for several different motorcycle training programs. He's just a really good communicator, and that just comes across. And on top of that, he rides. Like he again, go watch his videos. I think you'll find his videos educational, and I think he is a very credible source on the topic. But with all that being said, don't fool yourselves. YouTube is not enough. It does not replace the track or in-person training. I think those are really important. All right, so enough of that. Let me tell you what you need to expect, because I wish somebody had laid this out for me and made it as simple as it actually is, so that I would have done this sooner. Number one, it's not nearly as difficult or as big a hassle as you think it's going to be. You know, it's really not. Sign up and go. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Everybody running this event was extremely helpful, extremely nice. There's no one looking to embarrass you or to find a reason to throw you off the track, folks. There were people of all different skill levels. This was actually broken up into 3 different skill levels or kind of brackets, and that was novice, intermediate, and street. So there were folks there with Harleys, there were folks there with every type of motorcycle you can imagine at all different skill levels. So especially if you tell them that, hey, this is my first time, folks are gonna be nice, they're gonna walk you through it and make sure you're scored away. It's as simple as that. You know, this is actually relatively inexpensive. Usually around $300 for a track day. This event was only $100. Now let's cover what you're gonna need for sure. Number one, you're gonna need a motorcycle. So hopefully you have that. If not, you can rent one, borrow one, steal one, don't steal one. But you're gonna need a bike. Helmet, riding boots, gloves, and suit. When it comes to a suit, I thought it was gonna have to be a one piece. It doesn't even have to be a suit per se. You can have armored pants and an armored jacket and you'll be good to go, along with gloves, boots, some sort of protective boots. So you are gonna have to invest in some equipment. And while none of this stuff is cheap, folks, it's a lot cheaper than a hospital visit and or a funeral. And I'm telling you, just doing a track day, I think the best option is formal training and then continued track days, and probably back and forth to a little bit of both. But it's such a good investment. If you're gonna ride a bike, this will save lives. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about that. And I'll talk more about that at the end. All right, some people trailered their bikes there and they had a whole huge setup and that was cool. But there was a lot of folks that just rode their bikes there, had their pro gear in a backpack or they wore whatever they had going on. You don't have to trailer your bike there. They actually had gasoline on site. I don't know if that's the case with all tracks, but definitely at some point they did. So don't worry about having some $1 million setup. Again, ride your bike there, make sure you have the pro gear there, have your significant other drive it there, whatever you need, but don't turn it into something it's not. No one there is going to judge you. And again, there's all different levels of riders. You don't have to stress out about that. And yes, track days are for cruisers as well. And they had a whole street division for that, not just sport bikes. And I'll tell you, I actually think, now that I've done it, I think, and having ridden street bikes and cruisers and things like that, I mean, honestly, if you're riding a cruiser, that big, heavy bike, I think a track day is gonna benefit you more than the people on the sport bike, to be honest with you, because those things are heavy, they're harder to stop, they're harder to turn. A track day will benefit you absolutely the most. I can't recommend it enough. You should do it if you got a cruiser. Folks, all the riders and everybody there were super friendly, and they were just there to help everybody. They were there to make friends. It was a really cool environment. We had this whole parking lot. It was basically set up like one big tailgating party, without the booze, obviously. But everybody was super nice. Everybody was super helpful. And it was also really cool to see people's different setups, like different bikes, their trailer setup. I actually enjoyed just walking around, meeting people, checking out their trailers. I brought Noah with me. It's a really family-friendly environment. It was just cool. It was a great experience overall. It really did remind me of, coming to one of our courses, where everybody gets together. We're just there to have fun. There's a lot of people there that are nervous. They don't know what to expect, but they find out that it's a great environment. We're just there to have fun and be safe and help one another. And the same thing is what I experienced at the track day. All right, folks, so go enjoy this track footage. At the end, we'll talk about the biggest things that I think benefited me and the things that I know will benefit you as well. All right, folks, this is probably the 4th or 5th ride of the day. Definitely feeling a lot more comfortable. First couple laps on the track, first couple sessions, you get 20-minute sessions. We had 3 before lunch and probably 4 or 5 after lunch. I was just working on a line, really trying to see what that looked like and just making the bike point in that direction while maintaining speed, which, again, if you haven't done any sort of track stuff, that's definitely more difficult than, I think that's 90% of racing, right? And then just learning braking. The other thing that I kept doing, a big help with me, was I was still using my clutch. This does have a quick shift and blipper. Not using the clutch was such a huge thing. I was still using the clutch. And the reason being is because using on the street, sometimes the quick shifter wouldn't work correctly. Not necessarily not work correctly, it was clunky. And that's when I normally have it in sport mode. Folks, this bike, and I've had this bike in race mode on the street before, I didn't notice a huge difference. There is a massive difference on the track between the way that the quick shifter responds. Everything responds better, just better. So I like the way it engine brakes better. The engine braking on sport mode is very harsh. I have it set to where it has the least amount of engine braking. You have 3 options, basically from least to most. And again, in race, it's just a different animal altogether. It doesn't engine brake nearly as hard. So now we're going to try to put all these things together, right? So we're going to work on our line, work on coming into the turn a little hotter, braking harder. Try to put all this stuff together. The guy in front of me, Dan, he is a really good rider. So I think I'm going to try to, the best I can, keep up with him, and we will see how that goes. Definitely getting much more comfortable in the turns. Gonna miss my apex a little bit there. Let's drive out of this thing. See if we can. I definitely didn't follow Dan's line on that. Not supposed to pass anybody in the corners. Definitely would have wanted to on that one. I'm driving hard to the outside here. Not going to get to it before the corner again. Let's see how much speed we can maintain through this one. We're looking pretty good. Definitely passed this other one.
definitely braking a little too much. Definitely maintain some more speed through some of these corners, but it gets tricky. Next thing you know, you're not braking enough.
Just about anyone can twist the throttle and pick up speed very easily with little to no skill. However, it's not so easy to slow the bike down, and that's what's holding you back. The more proficient and comfortable you get on the brakes, the more comfortable you'll be when the speeds increase. And this is true for any rider at any level. A brand new rider just exploring their neighborhood, someone going onto the highway for the first time, or an experienced rider out in the twisties riding fast. It's all the same. Once you get comfortable slowing down, the speed will naturally come. I don't think there's an acceleration or speed problem. I think there's a pandemic of riders who cannot brake effectively. A simple way to find out which rider you are and to improve at the same time is head to your local parking lot and see how fast you could stop at 20 miles per hour in second gear. If you could stop within 2 parking spaces, which is roughly 16 feet back in first gear before you stop, you're doing pretty good.
This is one of those where I can maintain more speed than I have been. You know, when you start this thing, I was telling myself, I'm not going to worry about passing, I'm not going to get caught up in that. Folks, it's so easy to get caught up in that. Like, I want to pass this guy right now. I can. I know I can. But it would be unsafe, obviously, against the rules. If I'm passing them in those corners.
Finish it! Flawless victory!
I try to maintain just a little more speed through this one than we normally do. That's quite a bit faster. Same thing with this one. I think we could carry a little more speed in here. Definitely can. My apex sucked on that
All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that. That wasn't my best session, but definitely wasn't my worst either. All right, so how this track day benefited me. Number one, it was the absolute most fun I have ever had on a bike, period. Hands down, there's no question about it. Folks, I want to go back tomorrow. It is one of the best, most fun and exciting experiences that you will ever have. It almost makes street riding boring, but you know, riding a motorcycle is still more fun than a car any day of the week. You know, I have so much more control over my motorcycle. You know, being on a track in a full race suit and gear, you know you can push past your comfort zone. But I also stayed within my abilities. I didn't want to go too crazy. And even though I kept it within my abilities, I've never ridden a bike that hard because you just can't on the street. Even if you're willing to endanger yourself or others, you just can't replicate what the track offers. You know, between the gear, the design of the track, and the integrated safety features of the track, you know, you can just really push yourself in that bike really hard, you know, 10 times harder than you could ever do on the street, but yet still have less risk than just riding every day on the highway. I mean, it is, you know, the track offers an ability to learn, to push yourself in the bike that the street just never could offer that. Now on the track, I learned a lot. I learned a lot more about race lines with a bike. I learned body position. I really focused on vision, really watching where I wanted to go as opposed to where I don't want to go. So I did have one off-track excursion, and it was because for a split second, a rider was sort of in my way. Not really, it was more of a perception thing. As I'm braking hard, getting ready to go into a corner, I just kind of glanced over at the edge of the track and thought, I don't want to go over there. I had taken that corner a lot faster many, many times, but there's just that one distraction. I was like, and I ended up going off. I was fine. I didn't crash or anything like that, but I did meander off the track and then ended up getting right back on and go. Everything was fine. But the point is that really taught me not to get distracted. Focus on where you want to go. Don't get target fixated on anything negative. You know, target fixate on where you want to go and the bike goes there. So that was a big takeaway for me. But the number one thing that I think is the most applicable, that has the most utility every day on the street, was braking. Folks, learning to brake effectively and hard, and how much better I got over such a small amount of time was profound. I'm far from my potential best, but I'm probably 60 or 70% better at braking and controlling and stopping that bike than I was before the track day. And yeah, I mean, that is something I'll be able to take with me and use every single day and be able to control that bike that much better. So that was huge. That was a big thing for me. So folks, go get a track day, or better yet, go to an actual riding school and then, like I said, mix it up. Go do some track days, go to a riding school. Go to a track day, then go to riding school. I mean, if you're riding a bike or you plan on it, you really can't afford not to go to a track day at a minimum. It really is the responsible thing to do. It's almost like gun ownership, right? Lots of people own guns, lots of people own motorcycles, and many of them never get formal training. And you know what? I don't care how long you've been riding. If you have never had a formal training, you don't know what you don't know. And chances are, if you've been riding a long time and don't have formal training, you're just really good at doing a lot of things wrong. There's so much bad information propagated with motorcycles. And same thing goes with firearms and tactics and self-defense and all those stuff too. But folks, you don't know what you don't know. And you know, if you've been riding for 20 years and you haven't had a wreck, great. You're lucky, because I'm telling you, however good you are, one track day will make you exponentially better. It really will. And it will get rid of a lot of bad habits that you're probably doing already. The other thing I would say is, once you go to a track day, number one, do that, or go get some formal training, and then have a plan to have continued training. I think that's really important. To further my training, I plan on attending the N2 Track Days 2-day advanced training program. I know they have one here at the end of September. This is September 2023. I'll have to look at the calendar to see what else they have, but I'll link that program down below. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't get anything from them. I just have met their instructors. They were talking about that course. It's a 2-day course. You get one-on-one training most of the time. It's a just nonstop information, then getting out there and putting it to use. Man, I was just sold on it as soon as they were talking about it. And it's only $800. $800 for 2 days of training. Folks, you can't go to an amusement park for that amount of money. And there again, investing in yourself, investing in your safety and other people's safety. I mean, there's just no excuse not to do something like that. And folks, I'm telling you, it'll be so much fun. I can't wait to go to another track day or the next training event. I'm sold on it. It's one of the best, most fun and exciting things that I've ever done, period. So I highly recommend it. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to attend this one at the end of the month, but I'm definitely gonna go as soon as I possibly can. Probably likely in the spring if I don't make it this month. I'm gonna try to move some things and go to this one. But I'm definitely gonna hit that at some point as soon as I possibly can. And I also wanna go attend the Yamaha Champ Schools. But again, the whole point of this video is stop hesitating. Go to a track day, go get some formal training. You'll be glad you did. It'll make yourself safer and everybody else around you, and you'll have a ton of fun doing it too. I promise you that. All right, folks. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was informative. Hopefully you get some value out of it. And I know it's kind of out of our normal wheelhouse, but I thought it was important, and it's training related. And you know, like we always say, gear is great, but training is what is really important. And so I thought I would share this with you. So for those of you just finding us because you got sucked in by this motorcycle video, we are normally a 2A content channel. All our information is down below in the description, so go check that out. Tells you about our company, what we do, and of course we have lots of videos on all things 2A. And, you know, now we have a motorcycle video to add to that. But anyways, like, subscribe, throw a comment down below, hit that bell notification. Also, if you're not already, make sure you go follow us on our other social media sites. We do a lot of cool stuff on there. And every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, right here on YouTube and Rumble, we have our live Dangerous Liberty podcast where we talk about guns, gear, politics. We have special guests on all the time. It's a lot of fun. You get to join in on the conversation. It's live. We take your questions. We read your comments. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you join us every Wednesday. But until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.